Welcome to the Gyrl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell-Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's glow up together. All right, happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days to spend a little of it with me in the podcast. All right, just a couple of things before we dive in. Make sure if you haven't checked out our merch, make sure you check out Glow Up Gyrl merch at glowupgirl.com/shop. Also, if you are a creative or someone who is a business owner and you're looking for some help with brand strategy, marketing strategy, campaigns, or automation systems that help you be able to spend more time on the things that matter most for you, which is growing your business, make sure you check out my site, a little space I created called Studio Wonderwell at hellowonderwell.com. All right, now let's talk about our guest for today. My guest today is Tigrilla Gardenia. She is a nature inspired mentor and certified life coach who helps creatives and entrepreneurs reconnect with themselves through the wisdom of plants. Living in the spiritual eco community of Damanhur, Italy, she blends science, spirituality, and coaching to guide people in cultivating resilience, creativity, and alignment with the natural world. With her unique approach, Tigrilla empowers women to slow down, listen, and discover how plant allies can transform both personal growth and professional leadership. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to learn more about how you do that through plants. So stay tuned, everyone. Let's grab Tigrilla. All right, welcome back, and let's welcome Tigrilla to the show. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So why don't we go ahead and dive in, and let's start by having you tell the audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Tigrilla Gardenia. I am a nature inspired mentor, a certified life coach, but probably the thing that most people are curious about is this title that was given to me as a world ambassador for plant intelligence. So I work really closely with plants to help multi-potentialites and creatives and many different forms of people really understand who they truly are in harmony with the overall world, with the ecosystem of the planet. It's funny, I was just walking, I'm like have 17 different definitions of myself in my head right now because being multi-passionate, I was just working on a talk because I'm giving a talk at a presentation this weekend from the time that we're recording, and I'm like, "Wait, do I use that biography or do I use this one over here?" Basically, I'm somebody that helps you embody who you truly, truly are, working very closely with the natural world. That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, I think we want to start by just like diving a little bit into that, like being a nature inspired mentor. Like, as you kind of talked about like what it means, but I think a lot of people don't quite understand like how do plants serve as a guide for human growth?
Yeah, that's a really great question because even myself, when I first kind of started my plant reawakening, which was this very unexpected experience that I had with a plant, I we talk about nature, we spend time in nature, we're connected to nature, but then going beyond that and like how does that really change my life is there's a lot of medical facts out there that we can look at, like lowering your depression levels and
Mhm.
having higher feelings of altruism and generosity, and like we generally just feel better when we spend time in nature or when we're
Mhm.
with plants of any sort. People who have like houses filled with houseplants tend to feel better, and there's so many different health benefits. But it goes so much beyond that because if we think about plants as beings that have been on this planet since before we were born, right? They watched us come into existence. They host what we call the environment, right? The ecology around us, the ecosystems that somehow in their crazy combinations of colors and diversity and different species somehow seem to work. They tend to flourish.
Mhm.
They're always creating life and death and movement and sharing of resources and fighting over resources and all these different things, but in a way that seems to evolve and grow and continue to move forward. While we humans tend to be a bit stuck. And so working closely with plants gives us the opportunity to see the kind of human experience through different eyes. It helps us
Mhm.
step out of this go 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 centric world and step into what I call our plantness, which is that inner stillness, that ability to say, wait a minute, if I couldn't run away from my problems, how would I deal with them? Because plants are sessile, right? So not only do they do all the things I just said, they create nourishment for so many different beings. They create beauty, unimaginable beauty.
Mhm.
And they do all of this without being able to run away.
Wow.
So, what is it about plants that, from both a physical level, but as well also from an energetic and a subtle level, that we can learn about what it means to be in relationship of all sorts, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's love relationships with my intimate love, it's my family, whether it's my a stranger down the street, whatever kind of relationship with myself, what can I learn by observing plants who have been doing this for so long and with such majestic, awe-inspiring grace?
Mhm, mhm. Oh, awesome. I mean, I think something that you touched on too is like, what people and their busy lives and, especially women who are busy a lot,
Yeah.
right? And have full lives of things that they're doing. Like, what and a lot of times I think people feel disconnected, right? You're doing a lot of things, but they feel disconnected from themselves because they're just doing a lot of things. Like, how have you seen like that reconnection with nature? How can it shift that feeling of feeling disconnected with oneself?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics, and this is what I work with a lot with my clients because when you look at yourself, you start to see yourself as a being of nature. You start to
Mhm,
first of all come to the understanding that everything I experience is natural, which
mhm,
means all of these ways of thinking, ways of being, ways of doing this all these different experiences about myself, which unfortunately much of the time that we spend is trying to conform to somebody else's needs and because we ourselves don't feel ourselves I don't know, worthy, capable. There's so many different words that
mhm,
come into play. But when I start realizing that all my characteristics, even that sort of bitchy side of me is actually
mhm,
natural and
mhm.
necessary, now all of a sudden I'm able to look at the world and experience it through a different way of being, which means I'm able to see, first of all, seasonality. No being of nature operates 24/7.
Mhm,
None, none.
mhm,
They have periods of rest. Some have long periods of rest, right? Whether we're talking about the winter time when I drop all my leaves and then I go into a sort of slower and I go into myself, or whether we're talking about even the cycle within 1 month, our natural
mhm,
as women, human moon
mhm,
cycles, right? We all have these, but we're out of touch with them. So we don't allow ourselves to feel the feelings that come with each one of those emotions, which
mhm.
sometimes means I'm going to bed. I don't care if it's 7 p.m. Like, I'm going
Right.
to
Yeah.
sleep because that's
Mhm,
what my body is requiring of me. And as a being of nature, my body is telling me this is what I need. And my
mhm,
emotions are also matching that. Like, we try to think of things like PMS, or we try to think about some of the feelings that we feel in harmony with the planets, like the moon or with other forms and planets,
mhm,
we try to think of them as something we need to suppress. And so we spend our time in our go, go, go culture. Instead, if
mhm,
you start to move with these natural rhythms, if you recognize when am I most active? When am I most, in rest or in pause? For example, I am useless right around lunchtime and then
mhm,
going into the early evening. I cannot do strategic work. I cannot do anything that requires me to go, go, go. I need
mhm.
to do my go, go, go in the morning, or I can even do my go, go, go at night. But I
Uh-huh.
cannot do my go, go, go in the middle of the afternoon. It just doesn't
Right.
work. Afternoon is time for chit chat, long, reflective contemplation, siesta, which is a beautiful thing. And so it is the plants that have allowed me to see this reflected
Mhm,
through them. And therefore, I start to give myself that grace and I build my life accordingly. And I'm actually more productive. I
Mhm.
am much more productive with the understanding. Like, for example, today I'm working on this talk.
Mhm.
I woke up and I worked on it a little bit in the morning, but then I had some other stuff that I needed to get done. And then I had my lunch and I said, okay, I need to get working on this. I took a siesta and I was like, I just trust myself. I know that my mind is not working right now. This isn't my time. When I got up from my siesta, I sat down on my computer. I ripped it all out in an hour. It was and it's
Mhm.
beautiful. I mean, I have refinements to do and lots of things, but, like,
Right.
the
Yeah.
foundation is all
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Why? Because I gave myself space. So, in reality, something that I had budgeted 3 hours for took me an hour to do because I
Right.
allowed myself to do it in the moment that it was most useful to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in addition to that, as in that go, go, go culture, a lot of that go, go, go culture is because we don't know how to create the relationships that are necessary to support the work we wanna do.
Mhm.
And when you work with plants, you start to see that relationships are very different from what they've told me that human relationships look like. We have commensalisms and we have parasitism and we have predation and we have, all these other roles that come in an ecosystem. And if I start asking myself, where does this role fit into my life? Where is it that I'm more that, or who around me is more that and can
Mhm.
take care of that, then all of a sudden I start to build up the relationships that are more than just you're my friend or, you're my colleague, but they become way more nuanced. And that
Mhm.
allows me again to be easier and yet more productive.
Right. Yeah. I know I love that because I think that's so important for people to understand like the sort of like how they work, how they need when they need rest, when they are productive because let's just be honest like out of a if you are an 8-hour day of like work so to speak, just using work. I mean, you may not be productive for all 8 of those hours. And
Exactly.
you may be like you mentioned productive at certain times of the day like in the morning and then in the evening, like you may bust it out. And I love that because it's like instead of forcing yourself to sit for the 3 hours that you had budgeted to do it, where maybe you would have still just sat there and wasted 2 of those 3 hours.
Yep.
Ultimately you said, no, I'll come back. Let me take a
Exactly.
break, come back to it. And then you did it in an hour. And like you said, you've done the hard part because the foundation's there. Now you're just refining and getting it wrapped up.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and there's more trust, right? I build in me because, again, I look
Mhm.
at myself as a being of nature, and I
Yeah.
I realize that those feelings inside of me are natural. You
Mhm.
can always tell the difference. After you're working on this for a long time, you start to really recognize the difference between, "Okay, I'm running away from a problem," versus,
Mhm.
"No, no, no, wait a minute. I need to tap into that flow. I need to wait I need to find that flow, and I know that that flow is gonna come because that's the other piece that comes with this. There's this phenomenon that we call positive mental health, and positive mental health is a form of what we call flourishing, and in flourishing, it means that I also trust myself that even if in this particular moment, maybe I don't wanna do something, maybe I'm kind of like a little bit depressed or whatever, I know it will pass because
Mhm.
overarching, I know myself and I know that I'm in a good space. So I allow myself then to go into it. And therefore, I'm not fighting it, which is another place where we spend a lot of our energy and our time and our cycles
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
is in the fighting what I feel, thinking of
Mhm.
myself as wrong and therefore
Yeah.
arguing with myself. Where
Yes.
when I start to know myself in this way, when I say to myself, no, all of my feelings are natural. So I'm going to journal them out, or I'm going to write them out, or I'm going to get to know them. I'm going to see what is that coming from? What does that mean? How does
Mhm.
that use and fit into my life? And I'm going to trust that it's showing me something. And then how do I move towards that something? Now, all of a sudden, I'm no longer wasting those times. Like, I could
Right.
have fought with myself this morning. I could have argued when I was so sleepy as I
Mhm.
finished off my lunch. I could have easily argued with myself
Yeah.
and said, no, no, I literally got into bed. I got into bed and took a nap, kind of
Mhm.
thing, and woke up so refreshed, so much more productive. And
Mhm.
so we have to start to trust ourselves. And again, as plants who can't run away, start to connect in and show us all of these different models and mentors and to become even collaborators and partners in
Mhm.
this, you start to recognize new ways to do things. And you start to also accept and give credit to ways that you were working that you didn't realize that you were even working. Like my mind was building my presentation. My mind
Right.
was allowing, not in the, oh my God, I have to get it done, but more of like,
Mhm.
okay, yesterday we were in a meeting. They talked about these words. What do these words mean to me? So I was also giving myself to use
Mhm.
other parts of me. Dream time. I was able to use that sort of foggy period to tap
Mhm.
into that energy as well. And so, working very closely with plants, we step out of that human kind of conditioned response and say, no, who am I? Who am I as a natural being? And how do I operate?
Right. No, I love that because you're right. So many times people are like fighting them, they're fighting against the thing. They're fighting against the thing that is like natural for them, but then just trying to do the thing that they think like maybe society because if you think about the busy culture tells you that you must keep going. You must
Right.
keep hustling, push through it when in reality like you said, you don't need the time that you think you need and you can just do things more efficiently if you just trust yourself and your intuition and just let it like lead you. Um,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
what's a lesson that you've learned from the plant world that you have that sort of shaped how you live and how you coach other people?
Yeah, big lesson that I learned was in this vein of like, okay, wait a minute, if everything about me is natural, then
Mhm.
how do I use this? It's the concept that, for example, I always joke and I talk about this a lot, which is that if I ever write an autobiography, the first
Mhm.
sentence is going to be, I am the most positive negative person you have ever met. Because my mind thinks in negatives. Like I am very critical. I am the kind of person that like can spot an error a mile away. I'm the one that's
Mhm.
sitting in a room and knows exactly like where every exit is. And I also know like I can see before something is going to happen that something is going to happen over there. Like I am very detail oriented, but not to the point of like perfectionism.
Mhm.
I just happen to notice the details a lot.
Right.
So I
Uh-huh.
see errors. And unfortunately, for much of my life, that was considered I used it in a way that was judgmental. I used it to show
Mhm.
flaws and mistakes in a way because I thought it was wrong. I thought it was bad that I was that critical person. And it was the plants who really helped me see that in an ecosystem, again, everything is useful. And so I flipped to the question, which isn't how do I get rid of this or how do I suppress it or how do I let go? Oh my God, the famous let go, or how do I be more disciplined and not hold up, blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness.
Right.
So many of those terms that we use upon ourselves.
Mhm.
And instead was like, wait a minute, what if I mastered this? Like, where is that critical part of me, that detail oriented, a part of me actually really useful? How do I bring it into being? Because the judgment was coming from my fear of always being wrong and like feeling
Mhm.
inferior and not worthy and all those different things. But instead, when I said, no, 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 wait a minute, this is my dominant personality, right? This is the thing that
Right.
I am good at. And
Mhm.
so, what if I use this part for good? Like, and that doesn't mean always it's going to be constructive. Sometimes it is going to destroy. Like, sometimes it is going to throw a bomb in somebody's, I don't know, project or something, because I'm going to see a
Mhm.
flaw that's going to be like, this thing is not going to work. But I don't have to
Mhm.
say it as if you're stupid. I can say it as like,
Right.
hey, wow, look how freaking cool. I just found an error. Can we work on that? Can we figure that out together? Because
Mhm.
in thinking that it's valuable, now I approach it with worthiness. Now I
Mhm.
approach it with a feel of like, I've got something to offer you, which is I can see the mistake so we can fix it before it happens.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
now it becomes this like superpower that I can
Mhm.
use instead of being something
Mhm.
that's very detrimental. So
Right.
for much of my life, like many
Mm.
people, I did all the affirmations, all the mantras, all the things to try to get rid of the very thing that now is what makes me sought after. And like people come to me for projects like, hey, can you review my project? Or can you do this translation? Because I know that you're going to get every single freaking word
Mhm.
perfect.
Mhm.
Because I know and it doesn't come from a fear of making a mistake. It comes from a genuine enjoyment of like, what are you trying to do here? Let's
Right.
figure out how to get this done. Like it
Mhm.
comes from now excitement, and
Yeah.
it's been the best way to flip that sort of negative
Mhm.
tone that I had
Mhm.
into a positive part.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I love that. Tagrila, how do you blend science and spirituality when you're working with clients?
It's another great question. So I live in one of the largest spiritual communities in the world.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a cross between Hogwarts and Oz. If you
Okay.
want to imagine, with underground
Uh-huh.
temples that are considered like the eighth wonder of the world, and like just a really unusual place where magic does prevail. So yes, there
Mhm.
are places of magic around. Um, so all of my work, and I'm also a Kabbalist, and I've taught and studied Kabbalah for many, many years. And so really my spiritual core is my essence, right?
Mhm.
It's my guiding star. It's what shows me why I'm here. It tells me what my mission is. Like it
Mhm.
helps me understand my purpose. And then for me, what I have found is that the science just backs all that up in other ways. So the science shows the physical ways that we express these pieces. So, for example, when I talk about plants, we talk often about the plant senses. So we as
Mhm.
humans know of our five main senses. On a
Mhm.
spiritual level, there are many other subtle senses that different philosophies have different numbers for them, anywhere from like five more to 65 more, depending on how it is. But we also know that from the natural biological world, plants have about 15 other senses. In addition to the five that we have, they have at least 15 others that are known.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now if you take those senses and you say, wait a minute, I evolved from plants. In other words, plants were here before us. We became, animals, animals became humans. Like there's like this evolutionary chain of events. Plus, even if you don't believe that we literally evolved from them, you can just look, we evolved with them,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
means, huh, maybe I have those same senses myself, right? And
Mhm.
so you take what spirituality helps you understand about what it is, your expansiveness and who you are as a three-dimensional being, and you connect that with what the science shows us of like electromagnetics, the sense of electromagnetic energy, right? I can sense electromagnetic energy, which is the phenomenon of grounding under your feet. But it's also on a subtle level what your aura is made out of. It's made out of electromagnetic energy. And
Mhm.
so I can then start to work with my aura using principles of science to better understand what that field looks like. I know it sounds a little complex, but I swear it's really easy once you start getting into it.
Uh-huh.
And you start to look at all your different senses as expansions, like how can I expand out to those other senses? So really, the science and the spirituality are actually hand in hand, right?
Mm.
One of them helps us see it in the physical. We do have a problem with our science world right now, which is that it's very mechanistic. It tries to divide things up into pieces. And this is why I love working with plants, because plants show us an ecosystem view. Like they don't do things in isolation.
Mm.
They always do it in relationship to the overall ecosystem in which they're in. So then I can take those ecosystem principles and apply them to myself, both on the physical realm as well as on the subtle realm. And so, really, it's about flowing between these two. One of them helps me understand the physical, one of them helps me understand the subtle. And how is it that these two kind of intersect and interact with one another? And that helps me then take more have a deeper understanding not only of who I am but also of what my power is. Like what is my full strength when I think of myself as a being that has all these other aspects to me. And that again goes back to what we were saying about really feeling much more comfortable in your own skin and therefore
Mhm.
being able to operate in a way that allows me to express myself more
Mhm.
completely, more authentically, and to
Mhm.
create those bonds and those relationships that are also subtle as well as physical, right? I'm talking to you right now, but there's also an energetic flow that's happening between us. And when I'm walking down the street, I am feeling the interaction with other people. So there's always this flow going back and forth.
Mhm. Awesome. Interesting. I love that. So what advice for do you have for a woman that might be listening today who wants to deepen their connection to nature, but feels limited, right, by busy lifestyles? But if there's like one thing that you could say you could start doing, what would that be?
Connect with your houseplants. Super easy.
Mhm,
Your houseplants are not just ornaments. They're not just this thing that you take care of. They're not a thing at all. They are living, breathing, sentient, conscious beings that share your home with you, see everything that you are and everything that you do, have absolutely no judgment because they're not humans. They don't give three shits about that part. And they are there, can want to be in relationship with you. So taking a moment, even just 1 minute a day, just to start,
mhm,
one minute, 60
mhm,
seconds literally,
mhm,
to sit with a houseplant and just breathe with the houseplant. Breathe in that oxygen and breathe out that carbon dioxide that's taken in as nourishment by that plant and form that reciprocal relationship and just let that start the process.
mhm,
Then you can move into other senses and other things, but just starting there. I guarantee that in that 1 minute of shared breath, you will feel this beautiful stillness that starts to
mhm,
hum in you. You'll feel yourself, your nervous system regulate. You'll feel
mhm,
yourself connected at a different level. 1 minute with one plant, your house plant, you do not have to even go outside. If you go outside, I recommend you go to I mean, obviously we have neighborhood trees most of the time, at least some, but if
mhm,
not, there's grass growing somewhere. Those are my favorite. Grass has been my biggest teacher. I actually just have a podcast episode about that. Like grass has taught me so much, and grass grows anywhere, anywhere.
mhm, mhm. Awesome.
But just
Thank
one
you.
minute with a plant.
1 minute. Yeah, just start. Yes.
Exactly.
Awesome. So let's talk about so you've created workshops, mentorships, and resources around what you do at Plant Wisdom. What can listeners explore first if they are curious about your work?
Yeah, so if you're curious, I have the best thing to start with is my Spirit Wild Plant quiz. So if you go to my website and you can up in the resources, you'll find quizzes, and there's actually two, but the Spirit Wild Plant is a great one because it the that quiz allows you to connect with a spirit wild plant, which basically means a weed, dandelion,
Mhm,
those kinds, stinging nettle and such. And I'll send you some exercises and some activities to do with these wild plants, which can be done with the plants in nature, outdoors, or
mhm,
they can also be done with photos of the plant to connect into that energy. And it's a really great, fun way to start to just
mhm,
start to wet your feet. I also have like a little mini voyage that you can go from there, but just starting there gives you the opportunity. I also have a podcast, so that's another easy way to
mm,
learn. I Where people can come, called Reconnect with Plant Wisdom, and in the podcast, I talk a lot about these subjects in very practical ways. I have guests as well as my own solo episodes where we're discussing these types of topics. But my specialty before I started working with plants was always practical spirituality. I did practical Kabbalah's practical spirituality. I'm a
mhm,
very practical person, even though I kind of see things up here. I love the integration in the physical world. That's like my passion. I get really excited about that, about how is it that we take a class, but actually bring it into my life. And most of the
mhm,
reason why I went into coaching more than even teaching, even though I do have lots of, like you said, classes and lots of activities that I host during the week. But what I love more than anything is holding that safe space for you to just explore something, for you to just
mhm,
allow your mind to kind of get it all out and then feel your way through it, having that safe container, then you can play with it. And that's also what plants create. When you work with a wild plant like a dandelion, that's what dandelion is doing, right? Dandelion's creating that safe environment for you to explore all these types of topics.
mm. Awesome. And can you tell everybody where to find you? So where to connect to you?
Yeah, so I'm easy because I have an unusual name. My name is Tigrilla Gardenia, and so that it's everything is just Tigrilla Gardenia, one word, like whether it's .com or at Facebook or at Instagram or at YouTube or at LinkedIn, it's always the same. Tigrilla Gardenia. Period.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we drop the links in the show notes as well. So, Tagria, we are going to just move into three things with Tagria, and it helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. So, the first question is a two part. It is, how do you start and end the day?
Ooh. So, how do I start the day? I start the day, I have a pretty that is my time, my
Mhm,
me time. I love my
mhm,
me time. So, I start the day with some kind of activity, which is usually either walking. I love power walking,
mhm,
even in at home with the videos, or yoga or
mhm,
trapeze yoga or things like that. And my breath work, always my breath work. Love my breath work. And then tea, because I'm a very big tea drinker. So my tea or my turmeric, golden milk with journaling. That is my morning, and it's my luscious. I take a long time in the morning to completely, like, get dressed. By the time, it takes me like 3 hours between waking up and actually
mhm,
sitting at the computer to work, because that's my luscious me time. And
mhm,
my end of the day is very just simple. Like, I love my bed. I absolutely believe that everybody should love their bed. I love my
mhm,
sheets, so I'm like, take good care. I buy good
mhm,
sheets and like a really great comforter, and I love my bed so much. So for me, the end of the day is about prepping my hair, because right now it's straight, but I actually have curly, really curly hair. And
mhm,
uh um and so it's about prepping my hair, putting on my bonnet,
mhm.
putting, lotion onto my body, and then going to sleep.
Awesome.
That's my end of the day.
I love it. All right. The second question is, what's a goal or an intention that you set for yourself this year?
This year, my goal was really about what's the right word I wanna look for? It's been around. I've been working with cattail and with, specific words in sacred language, which is a language we use here. I've been using working with Venus a lot. I've been trying to understand and embody and enter into a new level of relationship with Venus.
Mhm,
Not so much in the kind of, like, traditional, when we think of Venus, of I want to attract a person or whatever. I don't care about
mhm,
that right now. I care about, like, all of Venus's characteristics, because it's just never been something that's a big part of me. I'm much more on the Kabbalistic side, it's Netzach and Hod, and I'm much more Hod. I'm like, I love the energy of, like, the creation, the doing, and this, but Venus
mhm,
is much more, it's a different energy. So that's been
mhm,
my intention. I wanna embody and understand, and I have a Venus in Aries, so she's very, like,
mhm,
fiery and very, like, authentic and very much like truth and integrity. And I've been trying to figure out, where does that fit into the more other sides of Venus? How does that all
mhm,
work?
mhm. Cool. All right. And the last question is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
Oh, that's good, good. I find inspiration in a few different places. Like I said, I live in kind of Hogwarts, so there's luckily lots of inspiration. I'm finding
Mhm,
lots of inspiration in the world, in the sense that, let me explain that. So I'm located in northern Italy, and that's what we call our first city. It's like the main location. But Damanhurians are all over around the world. And I, about a year and a half ago, created an area called Damanhur International, which is really where the initiates from around the world can now, like, have a resource that connects
mhm,
them
mhm,
deeper into what's happening in the first city and our federal government and all these types of pieces. And I am just so ridiculously inspired by everything that they're doing.
mhm,
I am just loving how this culture, this people that we have created here,
mhm,
is now expanding into, what does it mean? Because, here we created, what does it mean to be a Damanhurian? Because we are like a full-fledged culture, a
mhm,
population, and there's so many different words that we can use. We use the word popolo. And but it's always had an Italian base to it, obviously, because that's where we started.
mhm,
And now, that there's, like, what is a Norwegian Damanhurian, and what's an American
mhm,
Damanhurian, and what's a Japanese Damanhurian, and a Dutch
mhm,
Damanhurian, and I am ridiculously inspired by watching how they take all of our philosophy and our missions and all of the work we do for humanity and embody that through their own culture. So
mhm.
I get really, really excited about that, and it's a different form of ecosystem building, and it helps me understand diversity at a different level.
Mhm. Cool. Awesome. Well, Tigria, it has been very lovely spending this time with you and just learning more about your work with plants and just like how we can, how we can integrate this into our own lives. So, thank you so much for coming. And I do have one last question I want to ask you before
Yay!
I let you go. It is, what are three things you'd like our audience to take away from our conversation today?
I want three things. One, you are nature. Everything you are, everything you believe, everything you feel is natural. That's the first thing. Two, learn your rhythms. Understand who you truly are without any kind of judgment at all. What you do with it later, don't worry about it, but first just learn it. You might not be able to do it because your work schedule means that you have to be, working in the middle of the time that is your siesta time, but at least then you know it and you don't, punish yourself because you're tired. You then find other strategies to help you work through it rather than thinking that there's something wrong with you. So the second one is really about creating that, knowing yourself in that way and knowing your rhythms. The third one is really about relationships. Relationships are way more complex, not complicated. Complex in the sense that there's so many more nuances that can be created. So give yourself some grace in forming these relationships and don't feel like they have to have a specific definition. Allow them to evolve in whatever it is and take what you get from that, whatever that might be. That doesn't mean you don't hold boundaries. That doesn't mean you don't cut people out of your lives when they hurt you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying give yourself the opportunity to see that maybe that person that, I don't know, I smile and I have a 3-minute conversation with when I go buy my Doritos in a little shop actually is an important relationship that in those 3 minutes, I'm learning something super important. And so recognize that not all relationships are about like longevity or about long periods of time or about super depth. Sometimes a relationship can give you so much in just 3 minutes.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Tigrilla. Good luck with your talk this weekend and everything else that you do. And always, you can always come back here in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. All right, welcome back. Thank you again to Tigrilla for joining the show today. You can find out more about her and her work by accessing the notes in the show links. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, you can visit us at glowupgirl.com. And also make sure you sign up for our newsletter to get tools, insights, and inspiration for your glow up journey. All right, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. We are at Glow Up Girl, and wherever you are listening, don't forget to rate, review, and share. Helps more people, women, find our show. And if you're sharing on social, tag us so we can cheer you on. All right. If you're a brand and you're looking to partner with a community of women chasing a big dreams, make sure you reach out to us at hello@glowupgirl. We are now accepting sponsorships. All right. That is everything, my friends. I want to say thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to spend a little bit of it with me. So I will see you all soon. So until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.